They may never clap for this. They may never understand it. They may keep judging you with half a story and a full opinion. And the hardest part isn't even what they say out loud. It's what their judgment tries to make you believe about yourself. It tries to make you feel reckless when you're actually being intentional. It tries to make you feel foolish when you're actually learning discernment. It tries to make you feel ashamed for being loved in a way that feels safe. So let this message meet you right where you are, because you don't need more noise, you need clarity. Angels say, God understands this connection, even if they judge you don't abort what's divine. And if you want more marriage-minded motivation and relationship clarity that protects your peace, subscribe now, because these messages are designed to strengthen your spirit and keep you from making life decisions based on pressure. Now breathe, because I'm going to say this gently but firmly. Their judgment is not your confirmation. Their discomfort is not your direction. The crowd has never been a reliable compass for destiny. People judge what they don't carry. People criticize what they don't understand. People mock what they can't imagine for themselves. And when God is involved, it's common for the early stages to be misunderstood because divine things often begin quietly. They begin in seed form, and seeds don't look like harvest. That's why people misjudge. They're looking at something in its beginning and calling it impossible, while God is looking at it in its full form and calling it purpose. So what does it mean when angels say God understands this connection? It means God sees what led you here. He saw the nights you cried. He saw the lessons you learned. He saw the relationships that trained you to accept less than you deserve. He saw the ways you were loyal to people who didn't protect your heart. He saw the moments you almost gave up on love completely. And he also sees what is happening. Now, whether this connection is building you or draining you, whether it's healing you or hooking you, whether it's producing peace or producing anxiety, God is not confused by the parts people don't understand. He's not measuring your love story by public opinion. He's measuring it by fruit. And that's why the phrase, "Don't abort what's divine," matters so much. Because many blessings don't die from attack, they die from fear. They die from hesitation. They die from listening to too many voices. They die when you pull away from something healthy just to avoid being judged. They die when you sabotage peace because you don't trust that you deserve it. They die when you let shame drive your choices. And shame is a quiet killer. Shame doesn't scream. Shame whispers. It says you should hide. It says you should back away. It says you're going to be embarrassed. It says you don't want people talking. And before you know it, you've abandoned something that was growing because you couldn't handle being misunderstood. Let's define abort the right way in this message. I'm not talking about medical decisions. I'm talking about spiritual and emotional abortion. Cutting off something that has the potential to become a covenant because you panicked under pressure. Aborting what's divine looks like pulling away at the moment things start getting serious. It looks like becoming cold because people are watching. It looks like suddenly acting too busy because you're afraid to be seen choosing them. It looks like self-sabotage, starting unnecessary arguments, creating distance, testing them with silence just so you don't have to face the vulnerability of building something real. That's what fear does. Fear would rather destroy it than risk disappointment. Fear would rather end it than risk being judged. But fear is not wisdom. Wisdom is different. Wisdom doesn't rush, and it doesn't run. Wisdom builds. Wisdom observes. Wisdom prays. Wisdom sets boundaries. Wisdom evaluates fruit. Wisdom keeps standards. Wisdom moves steadily. So if this connection is divine, the goal is not to speed up out of anxiety, and the goal is not to shut down out of fear. The goal is to move forward with calm intentions so you don't lose a blessing, because you couldn't handle the noise around it. Now let's be mature and clear. Not every connection is divine just because it feels intense. Some connections are attachments, some are distractions, some are lessons. So how do you know whether you're being called to protect it or release it? You don't guess, you check the fruit. Divine alignment produces certain patterns: respect, consistency, accountability, clarity, peace, and growth. Counterfeit connections produce anxiety, confusion, secrecy, manipulation, and cycles. Fruit reveals what words can hide, and this is why God understands the connection, because God sees beyond the charm. He sees beyond the excitement. He sees beyond the image. He sees the actual fruit. So let's talk about the judgment you're facing, because there are different kinds. Some people judge because they genuinely don't understand. Some judge because your story triggers their insecurities. Some judge because they're projecting their past onto your future. Some judge because they fear losing control over you. And some judge because they're simply committed to staying small-minded. But regardless of why they judge, your responsibility is the same. Don't hand them the pen to write your life. Their words should not have the power to cancel what God is building, and here is where you need strong boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Some people ask questions, not to support you, but to collect details. They want a story. They want something to discuss. They want to feel important by knowing what's happening in your life. But your relationship is not public entertainment. Your future spouse connection is not a topic for gossip. It's a seed, and seeds need protection. They need the right environment. They need time. That's why privacy is wisdom. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't want to hide. And you shouldn't hide in shame, but you can build in privacy. There's a difference. Privacy says, this is precious and I'm guarding it. Shame says, this is wrong and I'm hiding it. If the connection is healthy and honorable, you do not carry shame, you carry wisdom. Now let's speak to the inner battle, because the real fight is not always people it's you. It's the part of you that doesn't trust that good things can last. The part of you that expects love to come with pain. The part of you that equates intensity with authenticity. The part of you that feels safer in chaos because chaos is familiar. When God sends you something peaceful, your nervous system might not recognize it as safe at first. It might feel too calm. And that's where people sabotage. They start searching for drama. They start testing the relationship. They start interpreting calm as boredom. But calm is not boredom. Calm is stability. Calm is what a home needs. Calm is what marriage needs. And this is why God understands the connection. Even if they judge you, because God sees your healing process. He sees you learning to receive love without panic. He sees you learning to build without rushing. He sees you learning to communicate instead of assuming. He sees you learning to choose character over chemistry. And if this relationship is part of that healing, then yes, you may be tempted to abort it when pressure rises. But this is the moment you stay grounded. So what do you do when judgment gets loud? You return to evidence. You ask, how am I being treated? Is there respect? Is there consistency? Is there honesty? Is there accountability? Is there peace growing over time? Are boundaries honored? Is there mutual effort? These questions silence noise because they pull you back to reality. And here is a crucial truth. A divine connection will not require you to betray your standards. If you feel like you have to lower your boundaries to keep them, that is not divine, it's desperate. If you feel like you have to hide your values to stay connected, that is not divine, it's compromise. A future spouse doesn't ask you to become smaller. A future spouse rises with you. Now, some of you are older in this connection, and you're afraid of being judged as foolish. You're afraid of being used. You're afraid of investing and getting hurt. Those fears are valid, but don't let them turn you into a prison guard. Evaluate with wisdom, not suspicion. Watch responsibility. Watch contribution. Watch discipline. Watch how they handle no. Watch how they handle disagreement. Watch how they show up when it's inconvenient. A spouse-level younger partner doesn't just feel love, they show maturity. And some of you are younger, and people are judging you as unserious. They assume you're exploring. They assume you're playing. If you're truly aligned, your consistency will speak louder than their assumptions. You will not rush to prove yourself with words. You will prove yourself with patterns. Patterns of respect, patterns of discipline, patterns of communication, patterns of responsibility, patterns of honoring the relationship. Now let's bring it back to the main message. Don't abort what's divine. That means don't let fear make you sabotage your own blessing. Don't let shame make you withdraw from a healthy connection. Don't let people's opinions become the voice you obey. Move wisely, build slowly, protect privacy, keep standards, watch fruit, pray for clarity, and remember, divine things are not always immediately understood, but they are always, eventually, revealed by fruit. That's exactly how people lose what was growing, by reacting instead of remaining grounded. Return to what is real. Return to what has been consistent. Return to how you're treated when nobody is performing. Because the truth doesn't need hype, and alignment doesn't need a crowd. Now listen, pressure will try to rush you into extremes. Either prove it to everybody, or end it before anybody can judge it. But wisdom stays steady. Wisdom doesn't speed up to silence fear. And wisdom doesn't shut down to avoid embarrassment. Wisdom builds. Wisdom watches. Wisdom speaks clearly. Wisdom protects the seed without suffocating it. So the question isn't, how do I make them approve? The question is, how do I protect what God may be growing? And that starts with 3 moves you can make immediately. Stop giving everyone access. Stop explaining to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And stop letting shame make decisions for you. Because shame will always try to abort what needs time. If this is truly divine, it will not require you to betray your values. It will not require you to shrink your standards. It will not require you to live in confusion. What is from God may be tested, but it won't be toxic. It'll be refined, but it won't be humiliating. It'll grow, but it won't demand you lose yourself. So stay calm, stay honest, stay intentional, keep your boundaries firm. watch the fruit. And when judgment tries to make you panic, remember this: God understands what people are guessing about. God sees what they can't see. And what is truly aligned will not be destroyed by noise, unless you let noise become your direction. Unless you let noise become your direction. And this is where you shift from being emotionally influenced to being spiritually grounded. Because the difference between people who keep divine connections and people who lose them is not luck. It's stewardship. It's how you handle pressure. It's how you handle opinions. It's how you handle your own fear when the relationship starts becoming real. Let's talk about pressure. Because pressure has a personality. Pressure doesn't come to advise you. Pressure comes to push you into extremes. It will push you to over-explain, so you start giving your private life to people who don't deserve it. It will push you to over-prove, so you start performing love instead of building love. Or it will push you to over-protect, so you start withdrawing, getting cold, acting distant, and silently punishing your partner for what other people said. Pressure doesn't care which extreme you choose, as long as you stop building with peace. So the first thing you do is recognize pressure for what it is, a test of your stability. And here's the truth: a lot of relationships don't end because of the couple. They end because of what the couple allowed inside the relationship. Not another person physically, another voice emotionally. A voice of fear, a voice of insecurity, a voice of suspicion, a voice of comparison, a voice of shame. Those voices sneak in through people's opinions, and then they start changing the way you think, the way you speak, the way you interpret everything. Suddenly, you're no longer responding to your partner. You're responding to anxiety. You're no longer hearing your partner, you're hearing what someone else said. You're no longer building your bracing. And bracing is not love. Bracing is survival. So if you want to protect what may be divine, here is the first skill you need. Separate opinions from evidence. Opinions are loud. Evidence is consistent. Opinions are emotional. Evidence is behavioral. Opinions are stereotypes. Evidence is patterns. People may say, "It won't work." That's opinion. But has your partner been consistent? That's evidence. People may say, "They're using you." That's opinion. But do they contribute, initiate, and take responsibility? That's evidence. People may say, "You're making a mistake." That's opinion. But do you feel more peace and clarity over time? That's evidence. You don't ignore wisdom, but you also don't treat opinions like facts. You let the fruit speak. Now, let's talk about the second skill. Protect access. Not everyone gets a seat at your table. This is not arrogance. This is stewardship. Because every voice you allow into your spirit is shaping your emotional climate. And your emotional climate will shape your decisions. So you must be selective. Some people are not safe. They may love you, but they are reactive. They may care about you, but they don't have discernment. They may have experience, but their experience is mostly trauma and bitterness. If you keep handing them your story, they will hand you their fear. And fear is contagious, so you choose a small circle, 1 or 2 mature voices, people who value fruit, character, and covenant. People who can ask thoughtful questions without trying to control your answers. People who don't feed off drama. People who don't need to feel superior. People who can pray with you instead of panic with you. That's counsel. That's safe. But you do not open your relationship to a crowd, because the crowd will always have something to say. And most of the crowd doesn't even know how to keep peace in their own life. You don't let unhealed people become your advisors now. The third skill: keep communication clean inside the relationship. When outside pressure rises, many people make a mistake. They carry it alone, then it comes out sideways. They start acting different. They start pulling back. They start being short. They start asking questions in a suspicious tone. They start testing their partner. And the partner can feel it, but they don't know why. So now the relationship becomes tense. Not because the connection is wrong, but because outside noise created inside tension. So instead, you communicate with calm honesty. I'm hearing opinions, I'm feeling pressure, but I want us to stay grounded. I want us to protect what we're building. Let's keep clarity between us. That does two things. It turns you into a team, and it prevents secrecy from growing. Because secrecy creates suspicion, and suspicion kills peace. Now let's address a sensitive point. Some of you have been calling it wisdom, but it's actually shame. Shame is the feeling that you must hide your happiness so people don't judge you. Shame is the feeling that you must soften your joy so nobody thinks you're too excited. Shame is the feeling that you must downplay your relationship so you don't look foolish. Shame is the feeling that you must pretend you don't care, even when you do. And shame will absolutely abort divine things because shame always pushes you to make choices that protect your image, not your future. So here is a truth that frees you. You are not required to feel guilty for being loved respectfully. You are not required to shrink because your story is different. You are not required to lose peace to keep other people comfortable. You can be private, yes. You can move wisely, yes. But you do not carry shame like it's proof of maturity. Shame is not maturity. Shame is a chain. Now let's talk discernment. How do you know whether the resistance around you is a warning or a test? This is important, so listen carefully. Sometimes resistance is a warning when the relationship is unhealthy, manipulative, or unsafe. In that case, the noise is not just opinions. It might be your spirit trying to alert you. You'll notice warning resistance comes with certain fruits: ongoing confusion, disrespect, secrecy, pressure to compromise values, inconsistency, emotional manipulation, control, and repeated anxiety. Other times, resistance is a test when the relationship is actually healthy but unpopular, when it's safe but not understood, when it's respectful but not approved, when it's steady but not dramatic. In that case, the pressure is trying to see whether you will obey peace or obey fear. And you'll notice test resistance comes. While the fruit is good, respect is consistent, effort is stable, communication is improving, boundaries are honored, and your peace is growing. So the key is not the volume of resistance. The key is the fruit of the relationship. Fruit decides. Now let's move into what it means to not abort what's divine in practical steps. Because you're not here for poetry alone. You're here for strategy. Step 1. Don't make big decisions while you're emotionally triggered. When people say something that stings, your nervous system can go into protection mode. That's when you want to text something sharp, cut them off, accuse them, or disappear. Don't pause. Pray. Sleep. Let your emotions settle. Divine things get destroyed when decisions are made in panic. Step 2. Stop trying to prove your relationship to outsiders. Proving creates performance. Performance creates pressure. Pressure creates resentment. A relationship that's always proving something becomes exhausted. You don't need to convince everyone. You need to build well. Step 3. Strengthen your boundaries. Boundaries are not punishment. They are protection. Boundary means, I won't discuss this with people who only criticize. Boundary means, I won't allow disrespect about my partner. Boundary means, I'm not available for gossip. Boundary means, I'm not explaining my choices to people who are committed to misunderstanding me. That's not rude, that's wise. Step 4. Have clear, mature conversations with your partner. Divine alignment can handle clarity. Ask about intentions. Ask about the direction. Ask about values. Ask about timelines. Ask about faith and lifestyle. Ask about family involvement. Ask about conflict style. Ask about money habits. This isn't pressure, this is protection. Marriage is built on clarity, not vibes. Step 5. Watch how they respond to wisdom. A spouse-level person will respect your pace. They won't punish you for boundaries. They won't manipulate you with distance. They won't get offended by accountability. They won't resist clarity. Their response will tell you everything. Now, I want to speak to the person who is older in this connection, because you may be carrying a specific fear. What if I invest and they change? That fear makes some people overfunction. They start paying for everything, doing everything, carrying everything, thinking it will secure love. But love that is secured by overfunctioning becomes a burden. Covenant is partnership, not parenting. So protect yourself by watching contribution. Do they show initiative? Do they take responsibility? Do they build alongside you? Do they bring discipline and structure to their life? If yes, that's fruit. If no, you don't call it divine because you want it. Wanting something doesn't make it safe. And to the younger person who is serious about an older partner, you may be misunderstood automatically. People may assume you're playing. The way you silence that without arguing is consistency. Consistency over time is louder than assumptions. Honor boundaries. Show responsibility. Communicate clearly. Be accountable. Be stable. The fruit will. Speak now. One more thing you must not ignore. Comparisons. Comparison will try to make you doubt what God is building. It will make you compare your partner to someone else's partner. Compare your timeline to someone else's timeline. Compare how your story looks to how another story looks. And comparison is a thief. It steals gratitude, then it poisons peace. So discipline your mind. Stop looking sideways. Build forward. Measure by fruit, not by appearance. And here's a powerful truth that will steady you. Divine things are often quiet at first. They don't come with a crowd. They come with clarity. They don't come with hype. They come with honor. They don't come with constant fireworks. They come with stability. That's why people misjudge. They're addicted to dramatic love stories. But covenant isn't Dromit's discipline. Covenant isn't a feeling you chase. Covenant is a home you build. So don't abort what's divine. Don't pull away because you feel watched. Don't become cold because someone judged you. Don't sabotage what's growing because you're afraid of being misunderstood. Be wise, be clear, be steady, protect your peace. Watch the fruit, keep your standards. And remember, God understands what people are guessing about. God sees the heart behind what they only see on the surface, and what is truly aligned will remain, especially when you choose peace over pressure, wisdom over panic, and fruit over noise. So don't rush to prove anything. Don't retreat to protect your image. Just build with clarity, guard your spirit, and let time reveal what's real. Because the right connection won't require you to betray your values to keep it. Will honor your standards and grow stronger under maturity. And if this message steadied you, don't let it end here. Subscribe for more faith-based marriage motivation and future spouse preparation that protects your peace and strengthens your discernment. Like this, so it reaches someone who's about to sabotage something divine out of fear. And comment, I will not abort what God is building, because speaking it out loud seals the decision in your spirit. Share this with someone who's been carrying judgment in silence, and remind them, God understands what people are guessing about, and what's divine doesn't die from noise unless you let noise lead. You disappoint may hear you. I missed your format rules again, and that's on me. What you asked for was simple. Part 2 should already include a natural CTA without me coming back with drop-in fixes. And it should feel seamless, not like an afterthought. Here's a clean rewrite of the ending section of Part 2 with a smooth CTA built in, no part language, no behind-the-scenes talk, no repetition, and no pushy tone. God understands what people are guessing about. God sees the heart behind what they only see on the surface. And what is truly aligned will remain, especially when you choose peace over pressure, wisdom over panic, and fruit over noise. So don't rush to prove anything, and don't retreat to protect your image. Build with clarity, guard your spirit, keep your standards. Let time reveal what's real, because what's divine won't demand you betray your values to keep it at will honor your boundaries and grow stronger through maturity. Now, if this message gave you that deep exhale, if it helped you feel steady again, don't scroll away and let the noise return 5 minutes from now. Stay connected. Subscribe for more marriage-minded encouragement and future spouse preparation that protects your peace. Like this, so it reaches someone who's being judged in silence. And comment one sentence, I will not abort what God is building. Not for me, for you. Because what you speak becomes what you stand on. And if you know someone who's about to walk away from a healthy, God-led connection because of pressure, send this to them today. Let them borrow your courage until this comes back.